So hi everybody, this video is one that I've been planning and looking forward to doing for a long time. We're going to get creative and we're going to use this beautiful book by Charlie Mackesy as our inspiration. So lots of people have fallen in love with this book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. And the reason for that is it's just beautiful. It's full of lovely illustrations and it's full of also lovely little messages and sayings that are all about life and how we can get through things by being there for each other and things like that. So we're going to have a go at learning how to draw the boy, the mole, the fox and the horse. And the idea is I'm going to show you how to do each character in turn, and then we'll be able to have a go at putting those together to create our own drawings in the style of Charlie Mackesy. And you can even come up with some lovely quotes or sayings to go around the outside of your drawing. And what would be really lovely is if we do these and perhaps share them with other people, spread little joy, little happiness and little kindness. So let's get started with this little chap. So here we've got the mole. I decided to start with mole because he's the smallest character and really he's the simplest to draw. So you can see I've done a couple of drawings of mole already. Some with him when he's sitting upright, some when he's kind of resting back on his legs, or like this one on the front cover. It's a little bit like this one, isn't it, where he's being held by the boy. And then there's this one which I absolutely love, and this is where he's eaten too much cake. So in the book, Mole, wherever he can, would say that cake is the answer. So here he is having eaten lots of cake and there's some cake crumbs around the outside. So I'm going to show you how to draw Mole now. And you really don't need anything fancy for doing these kinds of drawings. I'm using a fine liner pen like this, just like a handwriting pen really. You could use a black felt tip, you could use a pencil, you could use a Sharpie. Really, you could use whatever you have to hand. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Charlie Mackesy actually uses a pot of ink and a nib pen when he's drawing, which what gives these lovely drawings their textures. We've got fine lines and thicker lines, but we can create the same kind of effect just with whatever we've got at home. So I'm going to show you how to draw the mole like this, where he's sitting up first of all. Okay, so we start off with his head, and it's this kind of triangle shape that we start with, like this. Now the really good thing about when I've been doing these drawings is I've realised you don't have to be really precise, because, well, I'll show you why in a minute, but we start off with that rough shape like that, and then we can draw, we've got this little teardrop shape which is one of his hands here, and then we come down round the back, this curved line to where he's sitting on the floor, and then we've got another little triangle at the bottom which is his other foot, and then we just literally join them up. Okay, now they don't look very similar at the moment, do they? That's because we've got to then add all the texture and the different dimensions. So if you notice, the way that Charlie Mackesy draws, he doesn't colour anything in kind of really carefully. It's all very kind of rough and it doesn't really matter. So that's what we want to do now. We want to add those extra lines in, which gives that little bit of texture, and we can sort of round everything off. And I'm going to have him sitting on the floor, and we can have a little tail poking out there as well. So that's our mole. So you can have a go at drawing your mole. Now I'll show you how to draw this one as well, where he's got both arms up like this. So again, we start with that kind of triangle shape. Now when Charlie makes these, he uses literally one brush stroke and he's done the face. Now we come round the back, and then at the front we've got these two paws. So just 2 round circles, join them up, and then we join it up round the bottom. And again, you can put a little tail in there, and then we can go back and we can kind of add it in. It's not necessarily scribbling, but we're also not being too precise. We don't want this to look kind of polished and perfect, because it's the imperfect nature of how these look that makes them so nice, I think. So have a go at experimenting with mole. If you've got the book, you can have a look through, maybe find your favourite picture of the mole. I think this one's my favourite here that I've done on here. But I love all of them because it looks slightly different each time you draw it. And there's something lovely about that as well, isn't there? That it doesn't always have to look exactly the same and perfect. So you can pause the video here and have a go at drawing your version of mole. And then we'll get on to our next character. Okay, so the next character that we're going to look at is Fox. And for those of you that have read the book or have got the book at home, Fox is not somebody that we hear a lot of in the story. He's very quiet. He hasn't got a lot to say. But the images that he is in are really beautiful. And we see this in this image. We've only got the mole and the fox with any colour on them. This beautiful kind of gingery browny colour that we come to recognise as the fox. That's all we really need to know that that is the fox, isn't it? So I've had a go at drawing the outline here, and I'll show you how to do it. And again, super easy. We're just looking at the basic shapes, and then we add in a little bit of detail with our pen lines afterwards. So when I started drawing the fox, I started with his ears, and I kind of just started with this sort of shape like this. Now this isn't, when I started off this one, the shape that they are now isn't how it started off, as I'm going to show you how we can build it up. But that gives us our rough shape, doesn't it, for our fox's ears, like that. And then as we come down the side, we really don't want to make these lines too perfect. And actually, it doesn't even matter if we've got bits missing, because the way that Charlie Mackesy draws is that it isn't perfect. So I'm going to come all the way around here for his tail. And it's like all of these little pen strokes. These are kind of what adds to the effect, really. And I really like it because it feels like then there's like a movement in the picture, because the lines aren't solid. They're not, you know, they're not all perfect and in the same place. Just the same. We do a bit of shading here so that we know now this is the fox, and we give a bit of shape to his body. But it's not perfect, is it? Even my two foxes here, they don't look the same, but we can tell they're both fox. Now, if we look through the story, and again, if you remember, I said that Fox is a very quiet character. He doesn't often have a lot to say. He kind of appears, and he's a bit menacing to begin with. And the mole in particular is a little bit scared of him, as you would expect. But what he comes to realise is that he can just be with them, not having to do anything or be anything in particular. And there's this lovely drawing towards the end where we see that he actually lets the boy hug him, which is so lovely, because up until then the fox has been a bit standoffish. And if you look at our fox that we've drawn, that fits in really nicely with the boy, doesn't it? And so many times through the book, this is the view of the fox that we see. Here he is again. I love this one with the horse and the boy and the mole and the fox, all of them together. There are a few where we can see him running by the side of the... There he is again, look, sitting with the little boy. Standing this time, but still very similar view. We could have a go at drawing one where the fox... Oh, this is a lovely one. Look, where he's sat with his head resting on the branch. So we could have a go at drawing the fox when he's walking. Let me find one that we can have a go at. There's one here. Oh, look what he's drawn in the snow. Can you see that? He's drawn heart. You can see his footprints in the snow as these two are sitting on the branch. Isn't that lovely? Should we have a go at drawing this one? So we're going to have a go at drawing the fox as he is, he's been walking. So we're going to start off with his ears again, just the same. I think I'll draw him down here. So we'll start off with his ears. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. So we draw our little kind of V shape. I'm going to colour that in. His lovely black ears, pricked up in the snow. And then we come along his back like this. And then we come down his body this side as well. And then it kind of opens up into that beautiful bushy tail. Now, when I come to add a bit more detail, I'm going to make it into a bit more of a point, like this. And then, when I add his legs in, I don't have to be too precise. I just want it to look like... There we go. And there's another little one just poking out of there. I can't even see his other foot. So, because at the moment it looks like all one body, if I add a bit of shading in here, then I can start to see that where the tail and his body kind of merge together. We could put a few etchings like that, make his tummy look, come down a bit further. And then we could even draw some of those little footprints. And again, these are all just kind of... They're not perfect, are they? We just want to give it that impression of those little footprints in the snow. Okay, so have a go at drawing our friend the fox. See if you can practice your sketching and adding in those little lines. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. So each time I look at these pictures, I kind of add a bit more. I think I maybe want to make his head a bit thicker there. It looks a bit skinny. So we can add it out. Add a few more paw prints in the snow. So have a go at drawing fox. So pause the video here and have a little go at drawing him. I really like this one. I love this one. The way he's sitting, we can see the movement of his body. Perhaps just put a bit more colour in there. See how you get on. So I want us to have a go at drawing the little boy. And there's a couple of drawings that I'd really like us to have a go at. And the boy and the horse are probably the most complicated that we're going to have a go at drawing. But we'll still give it a good go. Okay, so there's this one here, which I love when he's sitting on the branch. We see him from behind. There's also this one where he's sitting talking to the mole. So this is like one of our moles that we drew, just facing the opposite direction. So it'd be nice for us to have a go at drawing the boy like this. And also we've seen that the boy in a couple of different pictures, he's hugging various different animals. And so we're going to have a go at drawing the boy so that we can have a go at this sort of this image of him hugging his friends. So let's have a go. Let's break it down. So with the boy, I'm going to start with the top of his his shirt. So I'm going to kind of bring his body in here. I'm going to come down here. And it's almost like I'm just drawing a t-shirt here. And remember, look, I'm not using perfect lines because I want it to be just like it is in the story. It's not perfect, is it? So we're going to add a little bit of shading in for his shirt and show the wrinkles and the crinkles. And then we're going to have his arm coming down here like this. And it's sort of resting on the branch. We don't have a lot of detail in his hand, we just know that it's kind of resting on the branch. So imagine the branch is there, like that, and he's sitting on the branch like that. So we don't need a lot of detail in there. And then we've got the same on the other side. So I'll draw the branch in first, so we can see what he's sitting on, like that. And then this arm is going to come down, and then it sort of, this one's bending a bit more. So we just see his hand resting on it like that. So, I'm quite happy with how that looks. And then underneath the branch, we've got his legs just coming down, haven't we? So they're kind of folding into one another, a bit like he's kind of crossing his foot over. And we can see the bottom of one foot there, and then the other one's just poking round like that. So, quite like that. Put a bit of texture into the wood and come back and add a bit more of that in a minute. Right, I like the way it's sitting there. Now we've just got to add, so I think this is like his collar sort of sticking up here. So we put that in first, because then we just kind of pop his head up, and we don't want to have too many perfect lines around here, because then we get this idea of what his hair would be like. There we go. What do we think? I'm really pleased with that. So just take it step by step. Pause the video, stop, go back. Try not to do any rubbing out. Try and go with that first line that you draw, and if there's something not quite right, just go over it with another line. So we really don't want these to look perfect. We don't want them to look like they've been kind of planned out, or you know, that they're in any way perfect, because one of the most beautiful things about life is that life isn't perfect, is it? We know that life's tricky and difficult and hard. So there's our little boy sitting on his branch. So when you've had a go at drawing him like that, you could perhaps have a go at drawing him sitting and talking to his friends as well. So I'm going to draw him over here, I think. So this time I'm going to start with his body again. So he's sitting down this time, so we want to draw kind of where his shoulders would be, and he's going to come down. He's almost got his hands in his laps like that. Okay, and then we come down his back. He's sitting kind of quite straight on his bottom. And you can imagine his legs coming up a little bit here. Now, what's really nice here is that we really don't have to be too precise. So the way that Charlie Mackesy draws his arms and his hands, we don't see a huge amount of detail, but we still know what it is that he's drawing. So when we draw his foot underneath himself, like he's cross-legged like that, that's literally all we need to do. Which if I was thinking, right, I've got to draw someone sitting cross-legged, I would panic about how am I going to do that. But when we watch Charlie do it, then we see that actually we don't need to be too precise. Same with when we're drawing little boy's face. It's just lines. I love the way that his hair kind of comes round. And again, if we don't like the way it looks first of all, we just add a bit more in. And create that dark, because we don't ever really see what the boy looks like, which is a lovely thing really, because then this boy becomes anyone we want it to be. It could become us in the story. Now, I think I've probably put a little bit too much detail around where the eyes are. We need to have a little less than that, but I'm quite happy with the shapes. And I might just put a little bit in there to show that he's sitting on the floor there. And in this one, this is where he's sitting, kind of talking to the mole. So we'll draw our mole in here. It is. Little chunky mole. And they're both just sat talking to each other like that. So, the boy is a little bit trickier than the mole and the fox, but I think you can still have a really good go at having a go at drawing him. Watch the video, rewind it, pause it, do it step by step like I did. Look for the shapes. Don't worry about thinking about I'm drawing a boy or I'm drawing this. Just do a shape at a time until you build it up into what you want it to be. So pause the video here, have a go at drawing the boy. And lastly, we're going to have a go at drawing the horse. So this is definitely probably the most difficult one to draw, but I want us to have a go at doing this one, because if we can just stick to those rough shapes, then we can have a go at doing it. And I love this one as well, because there's our little mole again, that same pose, and they're literally just saying hello to each other, which I think is really lovely. So we'll have a go at doing this one, and we might be able to have a go at drawing the horse. Might have a go at drawing the horse from behind, or perhaps when the one where he's putting his head down on top of the boy's head, because that is lovely. So let's get ready for the challenge of the horse. Okay, here we go. So Charlie has drawn it. He started with this really kind of loose circle here at the top of his head, and then from that we draw the horse's ear. So if we pop that in like that, so draw this rough circle here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then coming out from that, we've got that beautiful horse's head shape. And then down here he's done some other circles. So if we draw that in there, and that's kind of giving us the horse's cheeks. And again, of course, we're going to add in a bit more detail. And you can try and get that shape as best you can. The eye. I think my horse's nose probably should have been a little bit longer and narrower, but never mind. And then come down to his neck. And because we're not drawing the whole horse, we're just giving this impression of where the rest of the horse would be. So thicken out some of the lines there. I'm imagining where the horse's front legs would be. So definitely the most tricky one of all so far, but if we do what we've done with the other characters and we just do it step by step and we practice, then we will definitely get there. So I'm going to have a go at drawing the horse as he's walking away. So this is a lovely drawing where we see the horse walking away with the fox by his side and the boy and the mole riding on the horse. So we will start with the kind of the arch of his back. So there we go, right up at the top. And then we want to come down the sides. Again, we don't have to be too precise. And make it imprecise as we like, and then we're going to draw those horse's legs. And if you look, Charlie Mackesy doesn't actually even really finish the drawing. He just does some loops round and can't even see the other leg. Which is quite nice really, because it means we don't have to worry about anything being too precise. And we've got this beautiful tail swish. We get the impression of where the tail would be and the way it sort of switches round. Same as this swish round here. And we can put a bit of markings in like that. And then we see a little bit of his head from over the back. And because we've got the little boy sitting on here, I'll see if I can draw the boy on as well. He's sitting. So we can draw the boy on here. Just like our little boy on the branch actually. It's exactly the same posture. There's our little boy. His scruffy hair. I sort of imagine this boy's my son Stanley, so he's always got hair that looks like that. And then coming out of here we see the horse's ear, and then it just sort of, that's all we can see really. That's it. So I really like that view of the horse. I really like the fact that we don't have to be precise about drawing his feet, and like Charlie Mackesy's done himself, just some cross hatching and things like this, and put a bit more across the back of the horse like that, which means we get this feeling of movement, and we don't have to be able to draw it all precisely, which is perfect. So I know some of you out there absolutely love horses and you'll probably really enjoy drawing this part. I'm going to save some pictures at the end where you can pause the video so you can just look at some of the images that you might want to draw. Because now that we've got all of these together, we've got our horse, our boy, our fox, we've got our mole. Now it's kind of up to you what you choose to put together to make your own drawing, and you can have your own saying to go with it. So for example, you could do one like this, or we've practiced that little boy sitting on the branch, we've got the fox next to him, and then you could write something around it. I like something like, together is my favourite place to be, or sitting with you is my favourite place to be, something like that. So you could have a go at doing that, because we've already practiced drawing the boy, we've already practiced drawing the mole. Now you've just got to pop them together in one picture. This is the one that we've just looked at, so the boy and the horse and the fox, and you could even perhaps draw the mole there, combine them all together. There's also some lovely ones like this, where we've got the horse bending down to say hello. And of course you could add some of the characters in here, couldn't you? You could have the horse saying hello to the mole and to the fox. So you can make it exactly what you want, which characters you want to put together. You could copy some of Charlie Mackesy's, or you could make some that's totally your own. This was that one that we had a look at right at the beginning as well. So the boy and the mole sitting and looking at each other, which is really nice. I think I mentioned at the beginning that the mole really loves cake. So you could choose to just do the mole and some cake. This is the one that I love, when he's on his back having eaten too much. But the possibilities are really endless with this. Now that you have practiced drawing each character in turn, now it's up to you to put them together however you like, and think about what message would you put to go with it. And the message might depend on who you're going to give the picture to, or where you're going to put it. If you're going to do one for your room, you could put one that's something about, you are strong and brave. You're perfect just the way you are. You could do something that's very personal for you. If you're doing it for someone else, maybe to tell them that you miss them or you love them, then you could choose a message that goes with it like that. So I think I'm going to have a go at drawing some of my own, and I will be looking forward to sharing those on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And I would really, really love it if you shared your drawings with me as well. So have a go at practicing your characters, have a go at drawing your pictures. I'd love to be able to share them on all of our social media as well, to really share those positive messages and messages of kindness across our school communities. So have fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video, and don't forget to share your amazing artwork with me afterwards. Bye for now.